Today I have with me someone with whom I've shared last 10 years of my work life.
I feel blessed to have you in whatever we build together.
With discipline, achieving something. Why is that becoming boring for Gen?
So the world has really changed. For the younger generation, it is not about just solving something, but it is about creating something.
What does it really mean to be an entrepreneur?
I do feel that entrepreneurship is a journey of evolution.
Investors are not looking for great business plans. They are looking for great entrepreneurs.
So there are a lot of existential questions that come in. We did not invest enough in creating clarity. We don't invest enough in our entrepreneurs. We have never worked on human potential of entrepreneurs.
Products don't sell, stories sell.
Why you're doing what you're doing is very important.
The world really flows from you. You build the reality. You build solutions to the problems. That is the role that an entrepreneur has.
I saw these two Tibetan students. They came up with a brilliant solution. The water pipes in mountain regions get broken. They built a small app. If a pipe is broken, take a picture, geotag it, and upload it to the PWD server.
Is this art? Is this science? And especially for students, how do they get started?
So it is a journey of evolution, which is why I think more and more students should be excited about it, because it's a journey. It's a fun ride. So first I have to lead myself. I have to lead others after that, and then I have to lead an organization. And while I do all of this, I have to operate from clarity. What is that clarity? Understanding of life.
Okay, let's get started. Today I have with me someone with whom I've shared last 10 years of my work life and taken a lot of initiatives together, built an ecosystem in Himachal Pradesh, set up an incubation center in IIT Mandi called IIT Mandi Catalyst. And all these years I've worked with him very close, day in, day out, thinking thinking initiatives, thinking incubation center, thinking entrepreneurship, contemplating decisions, discussing really hot issues to really stale issues, having conversations at different times of the day. Last 10 years have been amazing journey, learning with him every step on the way while we built an ecosystem in the hills. I welcome Saurabh Mittal to this conversation. So thank you very much for making time for this.
Thank you, Puran, for having me here. It's a privilege, and I feel blessed to have you as my partner for last 10 years in whatever we built together. I think we had incredible trust and faith in each other's, and we complemented each other so well that we could do the magic that we did. And we feel very proud of having built Catalyst and the ecosystem that we built for Himachali entrepreneurs and beyond. But it's a privilege, and you made one call and I'm here. So yeah, that says everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, what do we talk about is the primary question in my head, because we've had so many conversations in all this time. And over the last couple of months, 3 months, we've had done a bunch of podcasts. And every time I had, somebody who I did not know very well. But here I am where I know you well, you know me very well. We've done things together. But what questions can I ask you is what I was thinking. And there are two major groups or categories in which I'm going to structure this conversation.
Sure.
For the benefit of student entrepreneurs, enablers, the ecosystem, everyone who's listening, everyone who thinks that they want to affect a change in the world, anyone who thinks that they want to affect a change in themselves, build themselves, lead themselves, lead the world. So there are two groups in which we will have these conversations. We'll talk about who's an entrepreneur. I'll have a bunch of questions for you on who's an entrepreneur, what does an entrepreneur do, and second on entrepreneurship.
Sure.
So, and through this conversation, we are really trying to bring out several learnings that we've had in the last several years working together, working with entrepreneurs. But before we begin, do you want to
Mm.
make a remark on the work that we've done together, or maybe overview of what we've learned, and then I'll go into my questions.
Sure. No, thank you, Pooran. I think we have never sat like this together on camera. We have shared this stage many times. We have spoken about, what we've been doing, what we have attempted to do in different forums, but we have never had a comprehensive conversation on having built Catalyst, having co-founded Catalyst, and, done that for last almost 10 years. I think one of the things that I want to say overarching was my belief in entrepreneurship grew. I had inclination towards entrepreneurship. I had practiced entrepreneurship. I had seen entrepreneurship up close. I had been failed at entrepreneurship. I had been successful in some places. Uh, but I think my faith in um, entrepreneurship as a phenomenon only grew in last 10 years. The more I saw it up close with hundreds of founders that we supported in various formats, whether we were mentoring them, coaching them, funding them, enabling them, connecting them with the industry. Um, it just grew, and the results, which came out of our experiment. So to say, in a remote valley in Himachal, really remote, so much so that everyone said, look, what are you guys up to? Or you're trying to build a technology business incubator in such a remote valley, and you need to be in a big city to do that. So all of those learnings and what we achieved, and the potential of what we can achieve, how we can change this world for it to be a better place for everyone, is it just it was a seed, but I think it took roots in me. And what you have initiated with student entrepreneurship is an incredibly powerful idea. If we can take it where we hope we will take it, I think it can be very transformative for all of us as a society.
Right. So, when in 2023 I moved out of Catalyst, I looked at the numbers. We had about 400 startups, out of which only 10% had come from IIT Mandi. And, that was a time when I reflected and I said, why only 10%? Why do we not have more? And you remember we've had several experiments that we did with student entrepreneurs since the beginning. We were only open for the students in IIT Mandi, and then gradually we opened out saying, students are maybe in very early stages and not very formidable ventures are coming out that need a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then later on, we experimented with the entrepreneurship practicum
Mm.
course, couple
Mm.
of other initiatives as well. And but for me, one time when I reflected on this, when I moved out of Catalyst, only 10% students. Why that? And that's why I thought, now what do I have? I have academics with me. I have access to students, and day in day out, they talk to me. They say, how do I take my first step? How do I move from here? I thought, maybe student entrepreneurship as a space, we've not explored it very well. We've not understood very well what is on the minds of student entrepreneurs. And that's how Guess India initiative started.
Yeah.
Although it's an international survey which happens every alternative year across 50 plus countries. But in India, we started in 2023, and I had the opportunity to take this up. And 2023 first report gave us so much data, but still the answers were lost. I thought there is a lot that we still need to learn,
Yeah.
and hence these conversations now. I'm trying to talk to a lot of ecosystem stakeholders, students themselves, student and entrepreneurs as well, to understand, what goes on in the minds of students, what goes on around the student
Mm.
in the universities, what are the conversations, what is the undertone,
Mm.
what is the kind of support structure that they have access to, and is entrepreneurship really for students? Is it too risky for them? Should it be a career option? So all these questions is what we are exploring. And through this conversation, I would like to bring out our learnings from building a regional ecosystem in the hills in Himachal Pradesh, and then say what are the learnings for student entrepreneurship.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So let's get started then. I said two different categories of questions. First one is on the entrepreneur. Let's first of all understand who is an entrepreneur. And through this answer, we are really trying to inform the students for them to understand, startup. Everyone is using this word now, but what does it really mean to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah. To me, an entrepreneur is a person who is enterprising,
Hmm.
someone who takes initiative,
Yeah.
someone who may be positively dissatisfied with wherever they are
Okay.
and what they see around themselves. They want to improve something, they want to change something, they have some amount of, creative tension in them that they're looking to, change, transform, move the needle somewhere. They identify a particular problem,
Hmm.
and then they find all the passion, hard work, discipline, determination within them to go after it, right? Um, at the same time, if I have to say what does it mean for student entrepreneurship or for the next generation of entrepreneurs that has to come, I also feel that the language that has been used in entrepreneurship so far has to undergo some amount of transformation. We have used the language of risk, failure, opportunity, maximization, etc., etc. I think the language that we need to speak now is of having fun, learning, exploring, perhaps going on a ride, and building a world that we want to build for ourselves.
Hmm.
It no longer has to have a negative connotation. It is not about just solving something, but it is about creating something.
Hmm.
So there is a slight shift that can happen, in my opinion. It is about going on an adventure,
Hmm.
um, which we have realized that yes, entrepreneurship is very adventurous. Why? Because it has thrill, it has ups and downs. You don't always have what you need, and you have to figure out a way to get it. You're constantly learning. You don't have all the abilities and capacities to be able to build and create something. And I do feel that the new generation is wired like that.
Hmm.
The next generation of student entrepreneurs that are going to come would have they were born in a different world. They experience the world in a different way, and their hopes and aspirations are very different from what the hopes and aspirations of previous generation of entrepreneurs
Hmm.
was. So that's one realization I have, that I think the narrative and the language and the feelings that we have around entrepreneurship need to undergo a bit of transformation. For instance, capital was very difficult to get by
Hmm.
15, 20 years back. I don't think capital is a constraint anymore. Access to technology, democratization of technology has happened. You can build websites, you can build apps. AI is available to everyone. It's going to get more and more pedestrian
Hmm.
as we move forward. So that wasn't the case. People were uh, haggling, struggling, or hustling for all of these things earlier. What would become a constraint is something else in future, I feel.
Hmm.
Uh, Human capital,
Okay.
human intelligence,
Hmm.
because artificial intelligence is going to come easy to access, and I can build based on artificial intelligence, but it would be limiting in some sense. So human intelligence, human imagination, um, human capital, and my ability to work with that
Hmm.
uh, would be very important. So the new generation student entrepreneurs that are going to come are going to solve for different things, I feel.
Okay.
So that's something that we have to, um, if we think about who's an entrepreneur and what do they have to think about, I think that is what. So anyone who's fired by all of this,
Hmm.
anyone who, it's going to be a new world there, out there. if anyone who wants to take the lead in that world, anyone who wants to, thrive in that world and go on a really fun ride, should be an entrepreneur, in my opinion. And it's better to be a student entrepreneur because you're not completely formed, you're not set in your values. Um, Whereas previously, people who became entrepreneurs, we thought more experience you have, better entrepreneur you'll make. The more resources you have, the more connections you have, better entrepreneur you'll make. And sort of, it was a sliding scale. And we came to a point where we started saying, no, no, okay, you have a decent amount of education. You may not have as much experience and you can be a good entrepreneur. But probably if you do not have that much education and that much experience, because we have also realized that uh, what we learn in a classroom setup or in our degrees or in our colleges is going to deliver only as much. In fact, in our lifetime and in last couple of decades, we have seen that college dropouts made better entrepreneurs. So now we are saying student entrepreneurs. I think student entrepreneurs can be phenomenal because they're very open. They receive very well. They're exploring. They're learning. They failure is built into their DNA. They're going to, that is how they're learning. And they're not set in their values or stone. They're forming right now. So they're getting shaped. And I think that's a good place to start. Um, if you get the right influences, then that is a very good place to start, practicing entrepreneurship.
Let me double click into something that you said. So, Generation Z that we have now, young people, they want to have an adventure, they want to go on a fun ride. And you said the lingo of risk, uncertainty, um, all of this is old. How do we make this more fun? How do we make entrepreneurship more fun? And secondly, you said AI. With AI, human touches, which is going to be missing. And Gen Z is all about, mostly all about technology now. They want, there's a lot of social media now. They're distant from reality. How do you connect these two things? So Gen Z, the lingo, what needs to change and how we do need to, you said, change into, we need to talk more about an adventure, a fun ride, an exploration, creativity. But is that not happening? What is the current status? And second is the human touch. Aren't the Gen Zs missing human touch with more AI, more tech focus? And how is this going to shape our future entrepreneurs?
Very interesting questions, both of them, Pooran. I think let me address the second one first, as how I see it. The Gen Z, which is more technology dependent, they are the digital natives. They were born with, internet around them, and they've engaged with each other through a lot of technology. And social media has become a way of life. Are they missing the human touch? One of the things that I would, reflect on is that, look, when we said how many people would do entrepreneurship, it was always a minority, right? I mean, out of if you had 100 people with you, maybe 10%, 15% people would,
I'll give you the data. So our
Okay,
survey,
yes, yes,
guest survey 2023 says 14% students say they want to become entrepreneurs when they graduate.
okay.
32% students say 5 years after graduation, I will be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So these are the numbers.
So great. So definitely it's not a majority, right? It's a minority when how many people want to attempt
Right.
entrepreneurship. Um, I'm saying, so entrepreneurship is not being practiced by everyone.
Yeah.
First of all,
Right.
it is still haloed. It is still, privileged, so to say. There are certain few who attempt it, and they have the drive and the determination and the passion
Yeah.
to be able to attempt something which is new. They're creating something. They're not, necessarily attaching themselves to something that is already built. So they're ambitious enough and they're courageous enough to go and build something out there. Um, those are the people who will see the opportunity and who will probably identify that, yes, in this world of technology, where we are all surrounded, all integrated so well with technology, there is scope, and there is not just scope, but there is actually an incredible possibility
Hmm.
to expand our world by going after all that is human.
Yeah.
So our pivotal points will not come by doing more technology.
Yeah.
Our we will go to the next orbit by doing things that we do human to human.
Yeah.
So I used this word I think earlier as well. Our imagination as human beings
Yeah.
needs to expand of what we can do, what we can achieve,
Mm-hmm.
how we can collaborate, uh, what we should aspire for as a civilization.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Human intelligence, how do we enhance it?
Mm-hmm.
How do we, despite being surrounded by technology, engaging with each other through technology, still develop our emotional quotient
Mm-hmm.
and continue to keep that emotional edge on? Artificial intelligence is going to take over in terms of raw intelligence
Mm-hmm.
that is there. But human intelligence is not equal to artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence will score better in so many ways
Mm.
in next couple of years over human intelligence, but human intelligence can go ahead of artificial intelligence in so many other ways. AI would not be able to catch up.
Mm.
And I think those are the areas that need to be explored, which is where I think we can push forward. So that is the first answer I have for the question that you asked me around um, how people who are surrounded by technology, engage with technology,
Yeah.
will be entrepreneurs. And I think
They
so
have
it
to
will,
connect better with the humans,
yeah,
and that's how.
so it will be a minority. They will see this opportunity and they'll go after it, and that's how we will see the next wave of innovations, and
Yeah.
the way we will do things in our world would change.
Mm-hmm.
um, and we have seen that in last few decades.
Mm-hmm.
The best of the companies that we see were born just 20-30 years ago. They were not born before that.
Right.
So we saw this, and I think the same thing is going to repeat, but in a different avatar
Right.
this time.
Okay.
The second question that you asked me, I think, was around
Yeah. Gen Zs, and you said the language has to change.
language.
How do we?
How do we make it more
Yeah.
fun? Is
Yeah.
what you said.
Right. And
Um,
why, talking about risk, talking about, taking a leap of faith and with discipline achieving something, why is that becoming boring for Gen Z? And how do we change it? How do we gamify it? Or how do we make it more adventurous?
I think, as I said, that the context in which the next generation was born and has grown up with is very different from our generation.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up in a generation which was not as connected,
Mm-hmm.
which did not see material abundance, so the world has really changed
Hmm.
for the younger generation. They have access to more,
Mm-hmm.
they feel more connected, um, and they see the world very differently. In their world, I think it is more important for them to not always wait for something. It has to be in the moment, here and now. Um, when we engage with technology, our brain is getting rewired in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And their brain got rewired, or not got rewired, but was wired in a particular way. And
Yeah.
our brain was wired and then got rewired. So, immediate gratification is something that we talk about, right?
Right.
When you're engaging with social media, you get immediate gratification. There are certain things that is happening to your brain. Now, if this particular generation is surrounded by that technology, is feeding on that technology,
Hmm.
they need to thrive on that technology as well, right? So when I'm saying fun or gamify everything, what does that do? It makes it interesting. You
Hmm.
see the results of what you're doing here and now. You're not waiting for 10 years to get something should get built, or something should arrive somewhere. So, like, let me give you another analogy. Software development about, 30 years back was very different.
Right.
And today, software development is very different,
Yeah.
right? We waited for, so long before a code was written. It
Yeah.
was tested. It went through different, test cycles. It was then deployed, and then we found bugs and we fixed it, and then it became perfect. Nowadays, we came to a world where, software development became agile, and it happened right there and then, and we started seeing it. And so the way we build products and launch products is changing.
Yeah.
And, it kept up with the times. Similarly, the way we build, uh, identify problems, build solutions, deploy solutions has to change. It has to become more real time. It has to tell us right there and then what happened. It has to be more connected. And that is how it becomes fun because you're not sitting and waiting. You're doing it in a live environment. You're most of the time getting the rewards of what you're doing right there and then. And it's something that is not shaped by necessarily a larger context, but what your context is. So I see something. We think entrepreneurship is building multi-billion-dollar enterprises.
Yeah.
Maybe entrepreneurship should not be about that. Entrepreneurship should be about, something which is in my local context, solving and, running a very small enterprise. And who knows if I go on to, solve problems one after the other and don't build a large scale enterprise, could be a very good entrepreneurship model. So my model of entrepreneurship is not fun right now because it puts too much pressure.
I see.
But if the new model of entrepreneurship does not put as much pressure and lets a student or a young person experiment and solve and have fun in the way they solve, then it would be so cool. I'll give you one example, and I think that example keeps coming back to me. I saw these two Tibetan students back in Dharamshala, where I live, in a startup event, and they were doing some hackathon was happening, and they came up with a brilliant solution. Um, the water pipes in mountain regions get broken, and PWD doesn't figure out where, how and when they have to go and resolve that particular problem because the location is not known. They just know the pipe is broken and they'll take days for them to figure out where it is, and then they'll go and fix it. So they came up with a solution. Smartphones are everywhere. They built a small app. Anyone can go. If a pipe is broken, take a picture, geotag it, and upload it to the PWD server. PWD server will immediately get it, and they'll know where exactly the problem is, and they can go and fix it. So what a cool solution. um, and they can move on. They don't have to now build a product around it or keep solving for the same thing or say, I'm going to build a utilities companies out of it, right?
Yeah.
Are they enterprising? Yeah, they were enterprising. They cracked the problem, they solved it. They can choose to monetize it, or just let it be if they don't want to monetize it. But this is fun. This is student entrepreneurship. You see something, you solve it. You want to scale it, scale it. You don't want to scale it, don't scale it, right? But you're constantly in the mode of becoming a problem solver and creating self-reliance. So the principles are very different of student entrepreneurship than traditionally the way entrepreneurship was set up and understood.
Okay. So you're saying that the entrepreneurship has to come to the students without the pressure of actually building a large venture. It
But
can be small, it can be boutique, it can be local.
yeah,
Has to give them that immediate gratification which they get otherwise on whatever else they are consuming because their life revolves around technology now. So it should be fun for them.
yeah,
So are you suggesting that the students should focus on just creativity, building solutions, and then if they want to, rather than pushing them, saying build a venture out of it now,
yeah.
let them just create whatever they can.
Yeah, let it be more organic because organic things are more sustainable. I mean, if you were to look at any of the big companies that we see again, if you were to name, Google or Facebook or, some of those brilliant experiments they've gone on to change this world, they started like that. They were very small. They were in here and now. Someone was trying to solve a local problem of me wanting to connect with other human beings on my campus or me trying to sift through loads and loads of information and search exactly what I'm looking for.
Right.
That's how they were started.
Yeah.
And they were all student entrepreneurship examples,
Right.
right?
Right.
So why don't we make that the method or the main modus operandi and not hijack that process and throw so much at it that, the fun goes out of it. We should keep it fun. We should keep it adventure. We should keep it engaging, interesting, and yeah, not something which I get bogged down by.
So then I see, to different ideas which are right now actually popularizing or being used to popularize entrepreneurship, which are actually complete opposite to what we are discussing. One is the idea that entrepreneurship very risky, 90% startups fail, right? So you are bogging the students down, number one. The other end is unicorns, fundraisers, right? And that is how we're going to celebrate entrepreneurship. Again, we are putting the pressure onto them to not do a local solution, boutique solution, something very relevant but at a small scale. But unicorn, the only, and unicorns are rare, and the perception that gets developed is that unless it is a unicorn, will it become a unicorn? How many unicorns have you produced? What kind of fundraisers, right? So then are these two words contradicting the actual way in which we should be promoting entrepreneurship among students?
I think our understanding needs to become a little bit more diverse, and what we celebrate has to become slightly broad as well.
Yeah.
Right now, we only celebrate one model of entrepreneurship, and we sort of get inspired by that. Unicorns are the only poster boys.
Yeah.
We don't celebrate the other stories as much. So the kind of story that I shared,
Yeah.
there are probably thousands of them right now, but we don't celebrate them. We don't talk about them. I think um, we do a disservice to ourselves when we do that, because we stop a lot of people from um, creating, from innovating, from solving, from building, just because they think they cannot do, what we are celebrating, or what everyone is getting inspired by. So why not find inspiration in other places? Why not find inspiration in, things that are more organic, more sustainable, more local, which are connected to land, not necessarily creating wealth, but, solving for something, solving for climate, solving for sustainability,
Yeah.
solving for, equity, inclusion, um, and still making it, sustainable, economically, financially sustainable as well. May not necessarily become a unicorn, but they find a business model in it, which, keeps them going, and perhaps not create a world which is very accentuated either. I mean, arguably, we did many wrong things and we took many wrong decisions. That's why we've created a slightly lopsided world.
Yeah.
Our cities are under a lot of pressure right now. Our healthcare outcomes, education outcomes. We're dealing with a lot of, we have a leadership crisis at many levels: political leadership, business leadership, ethical leadership.
Yeah.
We have boardroom problems, how, companies are going down the drain because they're not following compliances, or they're being driven from a space of greed. So I think we should learn from all of those lessons, in my opinion, while we go to the younger generation, which is very sacred, in my opinion. We are touching students
Yeah.
and hoping to inspire them with student entrepreneurship models and create role models for them. I think we should create the right role models. We should not celebrate only one thing and create this illusion
Yeah.
that this is the only way, entrepreneurship is done. Unless you arrive here, you will not be
Yeah.
celebrated,
That.
or it's not worth going after.
Okay.
I think that would be wrong. That would be doing a disservice to ourselves and to this entire generation of entrepreneurs that we want to promote and encourage. That entrepreneurship is not this. Entrepreneurship is adding value, being meaningful, purposeful to other people, to society, to be able to, create something that is of benefit to everyone and create a beautiful world around you.
So for a student, this could be just so much to digest, so much to chew. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, for a student, life revolves around right now, new technological tools, new gadgets, um, and thinking about what am I solving for, what am I building, am I chasing a unicorn, am I building local solution, finding meaning. I'll tell you a story of a student entrepreneur, not a story, an incident. A student, he did a very small initiative, startup project kind of thing, and successfully made, few thousand rupees, more than a lakh rupees in a short period of time. And then he comes to me and says, "Sir, I've experienced entrepreneurship now. I've made the money also. I know how to do it.
Hmm.
I will, I can build a bigger venture as well. Probably I will do. I'll make the money. But what I'm struggling with now is what is after that?
Hmm.
Right? So I will make the money and then what will I do?
Yeah, very, incredibly insightful conversation that you are sharing that you had with your student. And I'm very happy for the student that the student arrived at, such good power of reflection and introspection so early with a small experiment. There are people that I coach personally as an executive coach who are very successful CEOs and who have the titles and the bank balances and have created wealth and created large enterprises who arrive there and say
Yeah.
exactly the same
Right,
thing.
right.
They say, where do I go now? And is this it?
Yeah.
This is what I, needed to do, or, why am I here? What am I doing? So there are a lot of existential questions
Mm-hmm.
that come in. Why are those existential questions coming? Because there was lack of clarity right from the beginning.
Okay.
We did not invest enough in creating invest enough in creating clarity
Yeah.
right at an early stage. Um, is it desirable to have clarity? See, more clarity is always good. More awareness is always good.
Hmm.
I don't want to be in the dark. I don't want to drive blind. I would love to, have my eyes open, look all around and know everything and then drive. Would it, stop me dead in my tracks and I would not drive? Maybe, but then the drive was not worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you're driving blind and you did not know, maybe you realize that, okay, I don't need to drive there. I just need to be here.
Yeah.
It's a slightly philosophical concept that I'm trying to explain, but I'm saying um, clarity, awareness is always very good. So, should we attempt to create that clarity early on? Yes. How do you end up creating that clarity? I guess we don't invest enough in, again, our entrepreneurs, and we were always focused on providing them with very functional knowledge, technical knowledge, productive knowledge. We were working on the productive potential of entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
We have never worked on human potential of entrepreneurs.
Hmm. Yeah.
There is a larger human potential. Me wanting to understand myself, lead myself,
Hmm.
me wanting to understand other human beings around me,
Hmm.
and then once I've led myself, hope to lead other people. I will run a company. I will be in relationship with a lot of other people as employer or in my family or, the relationships that I'll go on and build and I'll lead a family. I'll be part of a community, a neighborhood, and then society, and then I'll build an organization. So first I have to lead myself. I
Okay.
have to lead others after that, and then I have to lead an organization. And while I do all of this, I have to operate from clarity. What is that clarity? Understanding of life.
Okay.
And yeah.
That's a lot.
Okay. I'll
That's a
slow down.
that's a lot. Uh, Let us bring clarity to this.
Okay.
Okay. For students, now you said three, very heavy words. Leading self, you said um,
Leading others.
leading people, leading others, and then leading organizations,
Yeah.
right? So, as an entrepreneur, you are going to build an enterprise which you will lead. But you're saying the first step is leading self before you start leading people and
Yeah.
organizations. Let us please break it down. What do you mean by leading self? And also, you give a lot of weight to the word clarity. Please talk more about what do you mean by clarity and what is this leading self?
I think clarity, what I mean by clarity is your ability to see clearly, to be able to see through things, to be able to understand the true nature of life, to
Mm-hmm.
understand this world.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's not difficult, it is not complex. You don't,
Isn't it too early for students to think philosophically? Can
no,
they relate to
no,
it? Although, I'm contradicting myself. A student only came to me and asked this question.
precisely. And we do feel that as, as the new generation is, more advanced,
Mm.
every generation, human generation, builds on the previous generation and
Yeah.
they are more advanced. I do feel that they have the ability to build it faster. Why is it that, the younger generation today is more aware of climate change,
Mm.
global warming, sustainability, inclusion? They are the people who are raising their voice. They have inherited a world from us which
Mm.
is unsustainable. We created the problems. They're saying we have to solve it now, right? So they have already arrived at a point where we did not even arrive when we were 40, 45. We went on living in last 100 years a lifestyle that created a lot of chaos, and our carbon footprints just created the problems that we have today. So the new generation is always already looking to solve for it. So obviously their awareness has gone ahead of us in some sense.
Okay.
So I would argue that it's not about being young.
Mm-hmm.
um, it's about your inclination and again your context driving your behavior.
Yeah.
So can they get it early? Yes, they can get the clarity early. uh, you have to invest in creating clarity
Okay.
because it requires for someone to think, reflect, introspect, and also invest time in themselves. Is it becoming more difficult? Yes, it is becoming more difficult.
And especially with technology around
Yes.
you, and you mentioned the human touch is missing. The very first human that you're in touch with are, you yourself.
Yeah.
And you said leading yourself, having a clarity, and then leading yourself.
Yeah.
So, do you want to now
Go to
jump
leading
into
self.
leading self? What do you
Yeah.
mean by leading self?
Leading yourself is, again, understanding yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing before you lead yourself is you to understand yourself. Understanding yourself means understanding who you are, where did you come from, what your values are, uh, what your aspirations are,
Mm-hmm.
what your fears and anxieties are. So, just knowing yourself very clearly, that is what is leading yourself. I'll give you one example, and maybe I don't know whether it fits in or not, but let me just fit it in here because it's been in my mind that when I came to Catalyst,
Mm-hmm.
when we wanted to build Catalyst about 10 years back, and you invited me to IIT Mandi, I met you and other people at IIT Mandi. I felt that we all felt that IIT Mandi is not a great location for us to do a technology business incubator. It's a too remote a valley,
Right.
45 minutes from Mandi town in Command Valley. Who's going to come here?
That's what we were told practically when we were handed
Yeah,
the funding scheme. We were told,
yeah,
yeah, in the name of inclusion,
yeah.
please do something in Himachal. It'll be great.
Now, so, and we are wanting to build an incubator for the rest of the student community and for the world, which will go out and do. So, we want to lead other people
Mm-hmm.
and we want to lead the entire community of entrepreneurs to do what we want to do. And here we were saying this is not a great place to build an incubator. I came there, I had uprooted myself from, wherever I had lived all across, and I had positioned myself in a town close to Mandi in Palampur, and I was living there. And for me, that was the best place. And I said, oh, this is a great place to do entrepreneurship. This is really good. And I remember our conversations and we said, low cost, high end destinations, start up in hills, build your product here, take it to the world, no distractions. So we created with our narrative and our conversations the self belief, not in ourselves, but everyone around us, that this is the place to incubate.
Yeah.
We have labs, we have professors, we have no distractions, we have a really nice life, good quality of air, good water, comfortable stay, and you build your products here. Do your prototypes, minimum viable products, and take it to the market and do a pilot. And wherever then you need to go, go on. So we created self belief. We had to first lead ourselves.
Okay. So self-belief. Leading self means you have to have self-belief no matter
And you'll
what you
have
have been
self
given.
belief when you'll know who you are, what you want to do, where you want to go. So once you understand yourself and you clarify all of that to yourself,
Mhm.
that awareness helps you create self belief.
Okay.
And that is leading self. Is it a process that keeps on happening all the time? I do think so. It's not that, oh, now I have understood myself, I'm all set, I'm leading myself. Yes, you can lead yourself, but it's an ongoing process. You constantly keep learning about yourself, becoming more aware about yourself. So you have to constantly lead yourself. You have to keep.
Are the students cognitively, developed enough to grasp all of these ideas? Self-belief, values, aspirations, anxiety, fear.
Well, honestly, I don't know enough. Have I worked with
You've done a lot of Kyo retreats. So I've not introduced Kyo so far. Saurabh runs an initiative called Kyo, Question Your Own Notions, and where he helps young people to even senior people reflect on what they're doing, who they are, right? And that's where this leading self, leading people, leading organization, these ideas are coming from.
Yeah, I think, do young people have the wherewithal to be able to lead themselves? I think yes.
Okay.
Sometimes they're not as confused as other people because they're attempting this clarity early on in their life.
And they are probably not yet messed up in their heads.
It's good to be messed up because clarity comes after confusion, I strongly believe.
Okay.
So it's good to be confused. So would we end up confusing the students a little bit early on if we, help them build this awareness and knowledge and vocabulary about leading themselves? Perhaps yes, but that may be required. We'll just put the seed. Let the plant come when it has to come. I say that, a flower coming out of a plant is growth. Tree growing upwards is growth. At the same time, someone growing roots is also growth. We should just put the seed and forget about it, right?
Okay.
So let's put the seed of, uh, leading self and this whole understanding that you have to understand the world the way it is. You have to operate from there. And before you go on to lead other people or build an organization, learn how to lead yourself, right? And they start investing in it. They start putting water, they start putting manure in it, the seed that we have planted, then who knows where it will grow and how tall it will go and how deep it will go.
Yeah.
And the taller it grows, the deeper it goes, the better they will be, to build what they want to build. So that is how I think there is no harm in starting early.
Okay.
It may or may not deliver depending on who it is that where we are trying, who's trying it. But I think it's a good idea to start early.
Let's give them concrete steps. Leading self, what does it involve? Number one, number two, is there a process? Can you break it down?
Um, I haven't thought about, if there is a process or can I articulate it so clearly in terms of 3 steps. But I think leading yourself would mean, first of all, as I said, creating awareness about yourself, knowing yourself.
Okay.
So
Self-awareness.
self-awareness is the first step of leading yourself. Um, when you have self-awareness, after that, perhaps articulating what your aspirations are. We're talking about student entrepreneurship, right?
Right.
And student entrepreneurship, by its very definition and nature, is about being enterprising, creating, building, innovating, solving. So what is it that you are,
What do you want to do?
what do you want to do? What are you, passionate about?
Innately.
Innately, there is something that comes to you. You've come with something, and this is what you want to do. So that would be the second step, and the third and the last step would be finding the reason for that. Finding your motivation to do it, right?
Okay.
That would be leading yourself, because now you're operating from clarity. So I know who I am, self-awareness.
Right.
I understand myself as much as I can.
Yeah.
I know what I want to do and why I want to do it.
Okay.
Now, when I go and try and lead people, what does leading people mean? I have to go and hire some people in my team.
Yeah.
I have to go and convince other people that please come and work with me because I can't do it alone. I might need help. They'll ask me, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? And unless I have a solid reason, which is convincing enough to me before to them,
Yeah.
then how can I? And which is why I do feel that if we create this clarity upfront, better it is. We will have more successes in student entrepreneurship. I thought we had more successes in regular entrepreneurship when people had this clarity.
Okay.
If they didn't have this clarity, they were falling apart for some reason or the other.
So knowing your why is important. Why are
Extremely
you
important.
doing what you're doing? And I've heard this: products don't sell, stories sell.
Yeah.
So when you are going out, building a team, trying to build a venture, what you are building is less important. Why you are building that is more important.
I think so. I think so. Why is extremely important. And given in the new age and day, as we were talking about, the new world is going to be very different. People will have more time because AI is going to do so many things. Why you're doing what you're doing is very important. I have so many options. I can either choose to do nothing or I can choose to do so many things with my time. My basic sustenance, for all you know, may be taken care of. Who knows, we might arrive in a world where there is a minimum, wage available to everyone, whether you work or not.
Yeah.
I'm just extrapolating 30 years hence that everyone gets enough to survive.
Yeah.
Then why are you doing what you're doing?
Hmm.
So you have to find your motivation. Today, entrepreneur might say, I'm doing this to make money,
Mm-hmm.
to create wealth. That may not be a possibility in future. Who knows?
Hmm.
That motivation may not be wealth. It may be something else. So it's very important for us to be able to articulate
Hmm.
why I'm doing what I'm doing.
So you're saying, what do you value? Uh, and that is the reason for which you are building what you're building.
Yes.
And where is it that you want to reach? What is your mission? What is your vision? And that is where you're leading. And when you tell this to others, then you'll be able to lead others. But before you start leading others, you have to first of all get that clarity for yourself to be able to take decisions, to be able to lead yourself before you can lead others.
Yeah. And I mean, in Kyon, since you introduced Kyon, I also say one more thing. What is in your control?
Yeah.
You can't control anyone outside of you. You can't control the weather. You can't control other people. You can't control your brother or sister
Hmm.
or your parents. So, whom can you control? Yourself.
Awesome.
So, let's work on ourselves. Let's lead ourselves. Let's change ourselves. Let's mold ourselves. Let's invest in ourselves.
Hmm.
Find our why and then go from there, because that would be so strong that it would see you through all of the challenges that you will face. But
Hmm.
if that is not clear, you will stumble and you'll keep falling and then you'll lose heart very quickly.
Yeah. If you start chasing something, it eludes you more and more. Rather than that, if you attract it by
No, that
the
you said something which is very beautiful, that, when you truly want something, the world will conspire to give it to you, or it manifests itself, right?
That's
Your
right.
intent can be very strong.
That's right.
I know it's a very heavy philosophical thing that we are going towards, but nevertheless, yeah, you start attracting it because the belief is so strong, and you've created that environment that it will come to you automatically.
I've seen students, different types of students.
Hmm.
I want to, and largely two categories, I would say. One is student saying, "Sir, I want to become an entrepreneur, and what idea should I work on? Can you look at my idea? Can you validate it?" The other category is, they're on their way. They are already building it,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Sir, can you just answer my questions? And I'm, building this. I'm solving this." These people have much more clarity. Others are still figuring it out. Both need help. The first category who are figuring out, whether this is a good problem to solve, they need clarity on, whether this is the right problem. They need hand holding. The other group need sort of on the go advice, saying, I'm going there, I'm rushing, I don't have time, but I need help. You tell me. So both these people, they're trying to chase something, either mostly funding, like how do I fundraise, when can I fundraise, I'm trying to build a team, how do I find a co-founder. And mostly my response to them is, don't try to find. Yesterday only I was talking to someone on the way here, an alumni student who is trying to become an entrepreneur now, trying to start something. How do I find a co-founder? So my suggestion was, simply get clarity on what you're building, and then announce it to the world that you are passionate about this space, this problem, and you're solving it.
Yeah.
And then people will just then start chasing you, rather than you going out in WhatsApp groups and begging for co-founders. Hey, I'm looking for a co-founder, please come.
Yeah.
So just attract.
Just attract, and I feel, not that one who doesn't have as much clarity will not be successful. They'll take longer, in my opinion.
Hmm.
They'll require a lot more investment in early stages of time, effort, energy. Whereas someone who's already going, already in the flow, have figured out, first few steps,
Yeah.
they may need different kind of intervention and help, and they may arrive there early,
Hmm.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that is how I would, contrast these two cases. And as far as, chasing is concerned, again, that's a lingo that we probably used in our previous world of entrepreneurship, and the narrative that we had, that you have to chase funding.
Hmm.
Now, maybe we can change it that you have to attract funding,
Yeah.
right? You just don't have to chase it anymore.
And investors are not looking for great business plans.
Yeah.
First of all, they are looking for great entrepreneurs.
People who are sorted in their head and who have the clarity
Well,
to do what they're solving,
yeah.
and they're convinced about their plans,
Mm.
and that's the people precisely.
Yeah.
So, which is why I'm saying one of the responsibilities that we as people who are in the world of entrepreneurship, who are calling themselves mentors and coaches and enablers of student entrepreneurship have, and it's a very big responsibility, is to simplify, to demystify,
Yeah.
to make it so clear to students that this is what the process is.
Mm.
So we should not confuse them by using terminology from the past and terminology from the future. Let's build one
Yeah.
lingo which is not for yesterday's world, not for today's world, but for the world that is going to happen in 20 years from now.
Mm.
Because that's where students will be flourishing. They would have built their enterprises in next 5, 10, 15, 20 years,
Mhm.
and they would be impacting the world. So let's change the terminology, change the narrative, stay there, not confuse them by using the word in the past, what was in the past and what's in the future, and then simplify it. Simplify it so neatly
Mm.
that they say, oh, this is not difficult. Can we have that number that you were sharing with me become a majority, that more and more people, want to be entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
become entrepreneurs?
Right.
Because, that's the reality. We'll need more entrepreneurs in future.
Mm.
Maybe there are not large organizations which will employ human beings.
Yeah.
They will employ algorithms. And if algorithms will do most of it, then what would human beings do? They'll need to create.
Yeah.
And not everyone can be a painter or a poet or, an author, but they would need to create other things. And what would they create then?
Okay. So, what we are discussing is, let me quickly bring it home one more time. We're discussing leading self. How do you lead yourself? And we've identified three ideas, which is you need to figure out why you're doing what you're doing. That is, what are the values? What do you value? The reason that you are trying to build something. And what is the vision? Where are you headed with it? When you have this clarity, is when you are able to lead others. This is when you start attracting people, attracting resources, and you don't have to chase it anymore. And therefore, when you don't have to chase anything anymore, you are out of confusion zone. You have clarity. So the next question that it leads to is, I have clarity on what is my value, or what are my values, what is my mission, what is my vision. Now we are saying that this is going to help you lead others, lead people. How?
What does it mean to lead other people? Um, when other people come and attach themselves to you, and I'll give you a simple analogy that if I'm climbing a mountain and I want to lead an expedition, I have to first of all know my capabilities, whether I can go up that peak or not. Do
Right.
I have I so leading self? I have to
Yeah.
first of all lead self. I have to be honest with myself. I have to know my capabilities. I have to know my limitations. I have to know I'm climbing that peak and why I'm climbing that peak. I can't go halfway and figure out, oh, I don't want to go up that peak anymore, right?
Yeah.
So I have to be very clear, convincing. Uh, and then there are other people around me who would like to be led. They would like to join the expedition with me and
Mm-hmm.
follow me. So as if you're a leader, then people follow you.
Mm-hmm.
You have a followership. There are people who are going to follow you. You're going up the mountain. They're saying, we want to come with you. So you are going to lead other people.
And they're coming and following you because you have clarity.
You have clarity.
You know what you're doing,
Yes.
and they've asked you why, and you know your why,
Yes.
and they are wondering, how does this guy know
Yeah.
his or her why? And let me just follow and see, maybe I'll also figure out my why.
They find trust in you.
Okay.
You are very trustworthy
You're
for
authentic.
You're authentic, you're trustworthy for them. They probably see fairness in you.
Hmm.
They know that, okay, if I'm with this person is not going to be unfair to me,
Mm-hmm.
would be caring, would
Okay.
take care of me, would take care of my safety. If I have an accident up there,
Hmm.
they'll build a stretcher and bring me down. So
Yeah.
this person seems responsible, caring, trustworthy, authentic, clear
Hmm.
leader, and that is why I should be in this person's expedition or
Okay.
follow this person. So leading others means that you lead other people. And when you lead other people, you got to build trust with them.
Hmm.
How do you build trust with them? By extending trust. So, who do you need to become to lead other people? You have to be more open. You have to be more inclusive.
Hmm.
You have to develop, someone who appreciates diversity of thought,
Hmm.
not my way or highway.
Yeah.
And there is only one thing that is acceptable here. Perhaps be ethical,
Yeah.
because if you're not ethical, people may not want to stick around with you. They're looking for fairness and caring, but they also want to see ethical standards. Where is it that the needle stops for you? What is right? What is wrong?
Hmm.
Do they align with your values or not? Have
Right.
you articulated your values to them or not? Maybe I'm okay, greasing palms and doing business, but some of the people in my, team would have a huge issue giving bribes.
Hmm.
If we don't allow align, then how would I lead themselves? Because they do not see me as inspiring leader every single morning that I walk in. If
Yeah.
I'm, walking around shouting and abusing people in my office, and they are not those kind of people,
Hmm.
then we have a values mismatch, right?
So as somebody who can lead themselves, you become a person who has clarity, and that's how you lead yourself. And others see that you have clarity, they also want the same for themselves, and then they start following you.
Or
They
they at
trust
least
you.
want to arrive where you are arriving, even if they don't want clarity. Wherever you want to go, they want to be with you because they want to arrive where you arrive.
So then everyone is actually after their inner clarity. Everyone wants to know what is their why. They want to figure it out. Maybe you have the methodology, and as an entrepreneur, when you are leading yourself and others start following you, you have huge responsibility to make sure you're fair, you are ethically driven, you have your values all clear, right? And then you have people who are following you. And something comes to my mind, which probably you only have said at some point in time. People associate with people, and people leave people.
Yeah.
They're not joining companies and leaving
Yeah,
companies.
yeah. No, that's a very sort of common saying in the management world, that people don't leave companies, people leave people. So when someone leaves my team, they're not leaving my company, but they're leaving me
Hmm.
because they lost faith or trust
Hmm.
in how I was leading them or what I was doing with them. There can be many reasons. Someone can say someone left for money, they were getting better pay somewhere, they got a better title somewhere. But yes, the crux of the matter is that they probably something was shaken in them, which is why they left. But I wanted to say another thing, Puran, since you used all of those words, and someone may say, "Oh, these are like really what you call it's an idealistic world you're painting. Someone has
Yeah.
to be ethical, fair, inclusive, open." What I do feel that entrepreneurship is a journey of evolution
Okay.
for a human being.
Hmm.
So uh, it's just that you get the chance, an accelerated chance to evolve as a human being. Leading yourself, leading other people, and leading a large organization or a community or a nation
Hmm.
uh, is a journey of evolution. You go through so much more than someone who does not attempt it
Yeah.
and who goes through life without attempting all of this. So it is a journey of evolution. So, which is why I think more and more students should be excited about it, because it's a journey. It's a fun ride. It is how you evolve. It is how you learn. It is how you become more aware, more conscious. You learn about this world. You learn about yourself. You learn about fellow human beings. And hopefully, you add value to not just yourself, but everyone else around you in the process.
Hmm.
And that is why it is worth it. That is why we should attempt more and more of us have attempt, but with clarity and with not a singular definition and notion of entrepreneurship and what successful entrepreneurship look like. That is the problem right now
Okay.
in our current world.
Hmm.
We try and create a single definition, and
Hmm.
we celebrate only one thing,
Yeah.
and perhaps the wrong thing. In my mind, very many times we are celebrating the wrong thing, wrong models, wrong successes. We have to diversify that.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So we have covered leading self, leading people, and the third step is leading organizations now. So how do you build an organization based on clarity, awareness, values, vision? So let's connect these dots: leading self, leading people, and now leading organizations.
So let's say leading self, and I said leading self is about self-awareness, knowing where you're going, what your vision for yourself is, and why do you have that, right? Then that vision becomes a shared vision at some point in time with other people,
Yeah.
right? So you lead other people because it's a shared vision that all of us are going to go climb that particular mountain now. It's a you articulate it for other people and connect them to your vision, and they're all fired up to go with you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what does leading an organization mean? Leading an organization would perhaps mean that when you, and I'm just going to keep it simple, when you're climbing a mountain with other people following you, there are a lot of other people who are enabling you.
Yeah.
There were probably porters, there were Sherpas, there were people who got food to you, there were people who were pitching your tent, someone got you in their vehicles. A lot of people enabled you.
Yeah.
Maybe, there were government authorities who helped you arrive where you arrived. What about all of those people? You're leading that organization.
Yeah.
It may be a lose-lose organization, the way I'm defining it, and how do you need to come across in that organization? You need to come across in that organization someone who's doing something meaningful and purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
So, unless there is meaning and purpose to my endeavors, I can't lead an organization. And I have to embody all the values, all the beliefs that I sort of figured out for myself.
Yeah.
Unless I embody and live those values and beliefs of fairness, inclusion, I can't lead an organization. I can maybe lead a small group of people. Maybe they're like me. I am really bad in my, values. I have some wrong notions around my values, and I find a coterie of people around me, and I can lead them.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a larger organization, they would see through it,
Yeah.
and it would not be a sustainable organization. It'll start falling apart somewhere.
Mm.
I'll be firefighting most of the time. There'll be a lot of stresses. I'll be fixing those things. So, leading an organization would mean that you embody and live the values, which are the right values in some sense. They're not the wrong values. They focus on larger good. They focus on everyone's benefit. Uh, they're more about being compassionate, being
Yeah.
altruistic,
Yeah.
uh, caring for the world, investing in, things that matter. And that is when you begin to lead a good organization,
Mm-hmm.
and your organization will grow, flourish, hopefully.
Okay. So, so we've discussed three ideas, and we've been so far focusing on the entrepreneur, and this is something that we've done last several years while we built Catalyst.
We focused on the entrepreneur quite
Right.
significantly, yeah.
We said entrepreneur matters more than the enterprise.
Yes.
If the entrepreneur is sorted, the entrepreneur has clarity of values, vision, mission, they will be able to lead themselves, lead people, and they will build great organizations, great startups. So, how do you? So, answer to the question, the very first group of questions that I earlier said on the entrepreneur, right? How do we build entrepreneurs? We focused on the entrepreneur and we helped them find clarity for themselves so that they were able to build ventures which would last longer and which would be more meaningful. Let me go to the other side of it now, which is what does an entrepreneur do? Entrepreneurship. What is entrepreneurship? Let's focus on the process of building a venture now. An entrepreneur now has clarity. Now, what is this process? Is this art? Is this science? And especially for students, how do they get started?
Um,
Do you want to take a break?
no, no, I think it's a great question. Let's just uh, answer that question. So, I think it's a mix of both. It's not art and science. There's some art to it. And our endeavor as people who are sort of enabling this ecosystem or have enabled this ecosystem of entrepreneurship in last 10 years, we want to make it more and more science.
Mm-hmm.
Art is completely dependent on the artist, and it sounds whimsical that, oh, we have to wait for an artist to appear to do this art.
Mm.
There is some art in it for sure. But could we, bring so much science to it that even people who are not such great artists find it easy enough to practice this art?
Mm-hmm.
So there is a lot of science to it, I feel, and that evidence is there. There are certain entrepreneurial ecosystems which have flourished. If we were to look at Israel, which is called a startup nation,
Yeah.
or we were to look at Paris or Germany or London,
Yeah.
Berlin or London, or if you were to look at San Francisco, there are certain ecosystems which have flourished much more than other places,
Right.
and they've cracked that science. What is that science? That science was availability of capital, intellectual resources, regulatory support by government, and a culture of building, creating, innovating, failing.
Hmm.
Maker spaces came up, labs came up,
Hmm.
and constantly people are feeding on new ideas and adopting new things and being very open to experiment,
Hmm.
which is what made them flourish. This is more science in it.
Okay.
And you can build it into a process, in my opinion. We did it at Catalyst. We had programs that started from an idea stage, from entrepreneur in residence, going up to acceleration,
Mm-hmm.
different stages of where you are in your entrepreneurial journey, and you come to us and we will help you clarify your idea, identify your problem, build a solution, do a prototype, do a proof of concept, then a prototype, then a minimum viable product, help you do a pilot, and then take you forward to commercialize it.
Yeah.
And every point in time we will have the right people coming and talking to you, whether it
Good.
is technical mentors, business mentors, or network mentors, or government support that needs to be provided, those enablers, and the right amount of capital would be get infused at every stage to make sure that you arrive where you need to arrive,
Hmm.
and when you're ready to stand on your feet, there you go. That was the process. Can that process undergo a change? Yeah, I think in future, in student entrepreneurship, I do feel the world is becoming more and more non-linear.
Okay.
Linearity is going to finish.
Mm-hmm.
So non-linear would mean that the way I articulated right now was a very linear way of doing
Right.
things.
Yeah.
And um, I think, and I don't have the answers completely, but I do feel that we will get challenged on linearity a lot.
Hmm. Okay.
Uh, People might walk in, or students might walk in with not an idea anymore, but they may walk in with a minimum viable product on first day itself.
Okay.
And they'll say, now I want to do a pilot. And then they'll go back to do, perhaps the first stage of, doing something.
Hmm.
So the iterative process that we talk about of, build, learn, and then go back to, sorry,
Build, measure, and
build, measure, learn,
yeah.
and then go back, design again and build it, right?
Yeah.
So that loop that we talk about um, may get smaller and smaller and quicker and quicker
Okay.
in future. Um, so as far as the process is, and one of the things that I wanted to say was, I also feel that student entrepreneurs in future um, would probably take decisions faster.
Okay.
I do feel that our ability to take better decisions has to go up with the amount of data, computing, and intelligence, whether machines or human beings. I'm assuming machines are going to be very helpful and algorithms will take over.
Mm-hmm.
In some of those decisions would only become better.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps I sit with a decision right now for a week because I need to process it in my head and I need to consult 10 people.
Yeah.
In future, a decision wouldn't come in 7 seconds
Mm-hmm.
because there would be data,
Hmm.
there would be computing power,
Yeah.
and I would get the answer much faster
Hmm.
and better. So the decision making framework is important. Decisions can come, but which is the right decision and how do I do the prompt engineering to get the right decision,
Yeah.
even if I'm interacting with an algorithm, is very important. So decisions will come faster, so the process will become faster.
Yeah.
The process will not be non-linear, it will become non-linear. And we can work on that process, evolve that process to introduce more and more science in this, and hope that we find the artists which will bring their art and become successful entrepreneurs.
What have you learned last 10 years working with 400, 500 entrepreneurs, ground up, right?
Mm.
Seeing very, very nascent to quite advanced startups. What have you learned about this science? What are some ways of building good startups, building organizations that scale, solving problems which are relevant. I'll ask you more about what is worth solving, but what are some
Where
mantras
No,
for
I
this
think
time?
I think that's a great question that you ask. I mean, I have a lot of mantras which I have gathered on my journey in my corporate world, and I owe it to my own entrepreneurial experiences, failed experiments, successful experiments, and learning from very celebrated, successful entrepreneurial friends around me. So there are mantras that I keep dropping, but I think some of the lessons that I learned uh, over the years, supporting all of these entrepreneurs is um, consistency helps. Um, People who stay at it uh, get somewhere. You cannot afford to drop off. So, consistency, being consistent, being persistent, staying at it is very helpful.
Okay.
I think that is in every entrepreneur who became successful under my watch. Uh, uh, I saw. They were very, they stayed at it. Whether ups and downs, they will keep coming back, they'll stay at it. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
And they operated from that clarity. They knew their why they're doing it. That is why they stayed at it.
Okay.
They were not falling out and they were saying, oh, I'm shutting shop, or, this is not working, I'll pivot. They
Hmm.
stayed at it.
Right.
So, doggedly, determination, staying at it, that is one trait that I found is very helpful for entrepreneurs. Um, Second, I would say people who found their flow in it,
Okay.
who found it to be fun. It was not harassment for them. If they were working 16 hours a day thinking about the same thing, they were thriving on it.
Hmm.
They genuinely enjoyed whatever they were trying to do, whether they're trying to build a software or they were trying to,
Adventure
grow
sports.
adventure sports, or they were doing organic farming, or
Yeah.
they were, crazy stuff. All kinds of sectors we have, dealt with, we have seen, and some very challenging sectors. But people who were successful, who found their flow, they found fun doing what they were doing.
Hmm.
They had a larger purpose in mind.
Hmm.
Um, they were not very short-sighted. They were long-sighted. They had some vision. They found a larger purpose in doing what they were doing. That was part of their process. I also feel that um, they found the right advisors in mentors and coaches. That really, really helps. We cannot undermine it, and especially in student entrepreneurship, because students haven't seen the world.
Right.
So there are benefits in not seeing the world, and there are, of course,
Disadvantages.
drawbacks,
Yeah.
disadvantages of not having experienced the world. So you do need a voice on the side which
Yeah.
can, caution you, which can question you, which can challenge you, which can make you accountable a little bit. So that voice is important.
And that voice compensates for the lack of experience that you have.
Perhaps, yes, because, someone has seen that, and you only need that voice, because that's why, I cannot do what that person is doing, because I know so much that, I do not have the willpower or the, persistence or the, determination to be able to do it sometimes, right?
Mhm.
I can be a mentor, but can I be that entrepreneur? No, perhaps I cannot be that entrepreneur. I have to be realistic with myself. I can be a mentor to that entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I can be a coach to that entrepreneur. But to be that entrepreneur requires a lot more than that,
Yeah.
than my mentoring or coaching or my knowing it all,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So I have to, and that is a realization that mentors and coaches also need to have,
Hmm.
that they have value to add, but they should be very cautious the way they add value.
Yeah.
Um, so that is very helpful to most of the people that I saw became successful, that they were getting right interventions. Um,
So you've said consistency, and people who found their flow and who've had right advisors
yeah.
with them as a sounding board, and these are some sort of factors which have helped students build good ventures in your experience.
Yeah, they were also very open to receive.
Okay.
Most of the entrepreneurs are not closed. They're open to receiving.
Hmm.
I find them humble, grounded, ready to listen, ready to receive.
Yeah.
They're coachable. They're not too headstrong, saying, "Oh, this is the only way I'll do it."
Hmm.
Because you have to change, you have to evolve. Entrepreneurship, as I said, is a journey of your own evolution. Evolution means you have to change, you have to listen, you have to receive, and you have to be your own critique. You have to receive criticism well from other people.
Yeah.
So those people did that, I felt.
Okay. So let us take this forward into now we're discussing entrepreneurship. And we've discussed entrepreneurship as a science, as an art. And you've said art can be exclusive to some people. Everyone can't be an artist. So can we break down entrepreneurship into some, some way in a linear format where some other people can also follow it, and hence we'll have more creators, more people who can build ventures, build solutions to problems. I want to understand, when you go through this process of building an enterprise, what is going on in your mind? How have you experienced the entrepreneurs? You've had close conversations with several entrepreneurs. You've had conversations, you've resolved several co-founder conflicts, for example. And, we've seen situations where founders get furious for lack of resources, for delays, and so on, right? Let's talk about mindset a little bit. As an entrepreneur, as a student entrepreneur, someone who hasn't seen the world and is trying to build an organization, how should I think about things, decisions, people, how should I behave, how should I react, and so on?
That's a great question. I mean, I don't know if I can even do justice to answering that question, but I will attempt. One of the single most important characteristic trait that I saw in entrepreneurs, in successful entrepreneurs was, and I did say in some other words earlier, the same thing. I said dogged determination or staying at it. They figure out a way every single time. They figure out a way. When I have lost all hope as a mentor, as an advisor, as a board member, and I'm giving up, and they will come back and say, "Look, this is how I'm doing it," or they've come. We've had startups in COVID we thought have gone belly up. They're going to fold up,
Hmm.
and here comes back the entrepreneur. Just rewiring the whole company, re-engineering the whole company, and you're like, "Wow, how did you manage to do that?
Hmm.
That you could even think through something like this and execute it." Co-founder conflicts, easy way to go down the drain. The company is split, couple of ways, and people work through that. So they figure out a way.
Hmm.
You know, they are not people who play victim.
Okay.
They are not people who will complain.
Okay.
They will fight.
Mm-hmm.
They will struggle, but they will seek some way or the other a solution, a
Okay.
resolution. They will arrive there. So, I mean, in our old world, we call them hustlers, that they would hustle.
Yeah.
They would do something. In India, we call it jugaad. They'll do jugaad. They will, go through the back door. They'll figure out, but they will solve for the problem somewhere or the other. They'll not stay with the problem.
Yeah.
They'll constantly keep thinking, what can I do to solve this problem? Not sit there and crib and, sulk and complain. So that is one single most important characteristic trait that I've seen in very successful entrepreneurs, is that they are constantly having a open, positive, optimistic bent of mind, and they figure out a way to get things done.
And when you are complaining, when you are, focusing on what is not right rather than what is actually going your way, then you are actually not leading yourself and not leading people, the earlier points that we discussed. And when that happens, you stop attracting resources, you
Yeah.
stop attracting people, you stop attracting solutions, and hence more problems.
Yeah.
So mindset is important, a very important factor. This is the software, in the entrepreneur, how the entrepreneur is wired, how do I react to such situations. And we've also seen entrepreneurs who have reacted
Yeah.
negatively, irrationally, or aggressively when situation has not gone well. And imagine, when you do that, there are a lot of people around you, your enablers, mentors, your faculty, your parents, your friends, everyone else. When they see that this is how you react, then opportunities stop coming. And you are wondering why, but this is the reason. because you've
And
not led yourself.
yeah, and that underlines the importance of emotional quotient and
Yeah.
how that will become more and more important in the world that is to come our way.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the world of technology, data, artificial intelligence, data driven decisions, um, everyone can get that done. But what can you get done with your emotional quotient?
Yeah.
If your higher EQ can go higher,
Hmm.
then you can do a lot more with the same set of tools available to anyone else,
Hmm.
honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think anything that is human is going to become more and more important.
Hmm.
So our focus on student entrepreneurs and just laser sharp focus on them and developing their capabilities
Hmm.
and perhaps making them more aware and honing some of these characteristic traits that we're discussing right now
Yeah.
are extremely important
Hmm.
rather than thinking about this technology I should learn, this
Yeah.
sector I should learn, domain knowledge, because all of that will rather be easier
Yeah.
compared to the things that we are talking about. This will be more difficult.
Let's define emotional quotient.
Um, Emotional quotient is, in some sense, my emotional regulation,
Okay.
my ability to deal with situations with lot of balance,
Mm-hmm.
equanimity, um, not facing turbulence or dissonance, cognitive, emotional, physical. It may manifest in different ways. So, if I'm experiencing negative emotions,
Mm-hmm.
how do I process those negative emotions?
Mm-hmm.
How do I surpass those negative emotions and stay in the positive frame of mind?
Mm.
Have that mindset that would deliver the outcomes that I'm intending to go after
Yeah.
rather than get consumed. That is emotional quotient. My ability to relate to other people and, you know, work towards our common benefit is
Mm.
emotional quotient.
And how do we bridge this gap? I've mentioned earlier in this conversation, a lot of technology around, a lot of virtual conversations happening, less human interaction, between people happening, working remotely, leading teams remotely, building initiatives remotely, a lot of things getting done, foods getting delivered at your home,
Hmm.
right?
Everything.
Not needing to talk to people. And what you are hinting at is as we move forward, tasks will be done by technology. Human interactions will become, skill to have a meaningful human interaction is going to be more valued. How do we bridge this gap in this virtual world, increasingly, becoming virtual world?
That's a great question, Puran. I mean, I think about it. I have kids who are, who are in this age group. My son is 19 years, my daughter is 12 years, 13 years, going to be 13 years. So I do think about this question, and I feel um, all we could do is we could increase their awareness
Mm-hmm.
of this particular need, despite whatever context they are suspended in which they're having more digital interactions or everything is being enabled digitally for them.
Yeah.
Highlight the importance of human to human interaction and what it does to us,
Mm-hmm.
um, how it fulfills us, how there are emotional needs that get taken care of by that interaction. And yes, it does help us develop uh, our EQ, our emotional capabilities. So perhaps as people who will enable this ecosystem or who are wanting to enable this ecosystem, we should create opportunities for more human to human interaction. We should create events. We should create uh, we should create situations in which the entrepreneurs are forced to think more human. They're supposed to do more human.
Mm.
um, Traditionally, in last 20, 30 years, I think we as ecosystem enablers, which I said earlier, have focused more on productive potential of people, but not on human potential of
Human
people.
potential. Okay.
We have only said, let me teach you technology, let me teach you functional processes, go to market, marketing, sales process. We are teaching them functionality, technology, um, legal, finance, compliance. we're not teaching them, human potential. We're not teaching them human psychology, human decision making. Uh, we are not explaining to them, uh, how this world is organized, and why are we here? What do we need to do here? We are not talking about enough about nature. We are not taking them into nature.
Mm-hmm.
We're not letting them get inspired by nature. We are part of nature. We are not. They are not thinking five elements. They're not thinking water, fire, earth. They're not thinking any of that. So they're not thinking food. They're not thinking land. And if we could make them think all of these things that I'm talking about, um, which are not man-made, but they were around us, with us, even before what we made, and surround their world with this, I think we'll have better outcomes, is what I feel.
Isn't it, what we are speaking earlier? We said Gen Z and the lingo, right? And now aren't we talking about ancient stuff?
Which is why it is interesting. They have a different language, but and because the distance is growing, the need is to bridge this distance, because they're going far and far from where we came from. The time is increasing, and the constructed world that we have is pulling them away
Mm-hmm.
from where we came. Like you said, it's ancient, right? We're saying land and elements and nature and all of these things that you're talking about are human beings, and how societies, how civilizations thought, worked, collaborated, uh, etc., etc. That seems ancient. We are in a new world. We are only thinking data, technology, fast, air travel, and teleportation, and longevity, and all kinds of things that we can do with our body, and treatments that we can do, how we can go after. So that seems very different world. But I'm emphasizing and underlining the importance to make the connection,
Mm.
because perhaps it was not important earlier, but as we are getting stretched and the pace of change, which you have discussed, is faster and faster,
Mm.
we need to make that connection, because that is where the reality is. That is our reality. Our reality is not the constructed world. It is the unconstructed world that we are surrounded by, and the inspiration lies there for us.
Hmm. And especially in the digital world that we live in, right? The gadgets that are with us, they keep us, although, so to say, connected with the world, but they keep us so distracted
Yeah,
from the reality, right?
yeah,
Uh, and in this whole situation, we are trying to tell the students, and, not only students, but anyone and everyone who is thinking for themselves, saying, I need more clarity in this distracted world. How do you figure out what to focus on? What are the problems worth solving? What is it that I should be chasing? What is
yeah.
it that I should be?
I think I again, as I said, that's a great question. Um, what should we be solving for? What should be the nature of my work? How can the nature of work be fulfilling,
Yeah.
and uh, hold me holistically for my holistic well-being? Right? It's not just material well-being.
Mm.
We have created solutions in last couple of decades, or maybe more than decade. We had industrial revolution, and then information revolution, and now whatever AI revolution coming our way. So different eras have come from that productive progress point of view, or whatever was happening in our context. But I feel that we are focused on comfort, convenience, access, Blinkits, Zomatos, e-commerce solutions, last mile delivery, everything happening at the button, click of a button, globalization. You can consume. Consumption became the mantra.
Mhm.
As much as you can consume. Economy flourishes when you consume.
Yeah.
GDP grows when you consume. But we all know GDP is a flawed metric, because whether you produce guns or drugs, or create more farm produce, it gets all clubbed and it's called GDP,
Mm-hmm.
right? So GDP, and there are alternative models compared to GDP where people have measured other things. There are
Yeah.
certain countries which measure, and they define their well-being and happiness based on that, not just gross domestic product that is
Yeah.
coming out of their economy. So I think what we have prioritized in last many decades is comfort, convenience, consumption, access.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should prioritize some other things that we solve for.
What should we prioritize now?
I think we should prioritize perhaps holistic well-being. We should prioritize a healthier planet. We should prioritize climate. We are clearly suffering. All of us are beginning to suffer. We haven't even understood the repercussions of our own actions and our carbon footprints, and the entire world is accelerating towards more consumption at this particular stage, which is only going to make the temperatures go up, and the problems of global warming and sustainability would be, more in our face
Mm.
in future. So maybe we should focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should focus on growing better food, making our lifestyles more sustainable, nutritious,
Mm-hmm.
nourishing. We should build better societies, integrated societies. We should focus on self-reliance, communities that support each other, flourish locally, not increase the gap of haves and have-nots in this world.
Mm-hmm.
If yes, arguably we have more material wealth, but then we have the difference between rich and poor have increased
Mm-hmm.
drastically, which should not be the case. What used to be 5x has become 50x perhaps right now, right? So maybe we need to solve for some of those things, that we should have, um, well-being all around. We should have more equitable distribution of
Mm-hmm.
wealth. We should have lesser problems that we are dealing with, whether it's war, famine, hunger, poverty. We have not eradicated those problems,
Mm-hmm.
or discrimination for that matter. Why can't we have solutions that solve for these problems as well? And not just for comfort, convenience, access, uh, and consumption,
Mm-hmm.
because that doesn't seem to solve these problems. We we end up saying that, okay, if as long as everyone is getting more, it is fine, right? I mean, when the economy is growing, we are saying everyone is getting more, but some people are getting a lot more than some people. And why shouldn't we solve for it? And arguably, I am very hopeful of student entrepreneurship, because these people have the ability to think otherwise and perhaps create solutions that will make some of the existing solutions redundant.
Hmm. But it's important to have the right metrics again, right? If we are going to measure the success of entrepreneurs
Yeah.
by saying how much funding you raise, how many become unicorns, then we are only chasing whatever brings more money, whatever has commercial value. And many things that you have mentioned, climate, holistic well-being, health, nutrition, all of this probably does not bring as much money. Yeah, health, I mean, hospitals can make a lot of money, but that's not what you mean, right?
And
You mean
hospitals is actually not health. Lack of hospitals is health. If we have more hospitals, that does not mean we have more health.
yeah.
So I agree that I'm not highlighting any of the wealth parameters as a metric anymore.
Hmm.
And I do feel that we have a need to deprioritize. And I'm making a very bold statement that economics became the fundamental driver for everything in our world. We took decisions based on economic priorities. I'm saying we need to deprioritize economics in our lives.
How do you do that? Because see, uh, we would pursue ventures or professions which are commercially rewarding. Ultimately, everything, money buys everything for you. And that has become, sustenance is primary to the human beings. So I need money to sustain. Natural resources are not abundantly, freely available. They also cost. Therefore, I will pursue whatever is socially and economically valued
Hmm.
more. And these things that we are mentioning, these are alternative realities almost, right? holistic well-being. Nobody. I mean, I don't see many people talking about it. So, how do we make
There,
these things
yeah,
more valuable so that more students, more entrepreneurs,
I, I,
change makers can
yeah,
proceed?
I think I said sustainability. When I say sustainability,
Mm,
sustainability is not just about environmental sustainability. I'm talking 360-degree sustainability. I'm
mm,
talking about financial sustainability as well.
mhm,
So, yes, I strongly believe that every entrepreneurial venture has to become commercially viable and sustainable. But there has to be a cap. You cannot drive it based on only economic, financial sustainability,
mhm.
which is where the greed seeps in. Why is it? And again, as I said, I'm here on the podcast and I may make some controversial statements. I'm saying we need to deprioritize economics, we need to prioritize other things. And there are very good examples of that in our current world in the West. If you were to look at Nordic countries, I spent some time in Sweden last year. I was in Netherlands this year. And I've come across examples of companies. I mean, let's talk about Fairphone. I met the founder in Sweden last year in Stockholm. Fairphone is a phone that has been built for life. You
Okay.
don't ever need to trash that phone. That person is saying, I'll help you upgrade this phone and it will be as good as any other smartphone. You'll just need to take out something and put in this particular phone. Why is it that you need to trash your entire phone,
Right.
which is planned obsolescence,
Mhm.
which a lot of the world's biggest brand names have a way of life. It is a way of life that, a small chip changes, but we take the whole thing and trash it, and it gives rise to more electronic waste.
Yeah.
Carbon footprint goes up, and everyone is, paying money. I recently came across a very interesting platform called HomeExchange.com.
Mhm.
Someone has built that particular platform in which they have solved, when people travel, they stay in hotels.
Mm.
Why do I stay in a hotel? Let's say you and stay in one city and I stay in another city. And if I travel to your city and you travel to my city, can we stay in each other's houses?
Mm.
We can, right? But let's say you don't know me, you'll go and stay in a hotel, you'll pay a lot of money, and I will go and stay in a hotel in your city. What if we knew each other and we knew each other's need and we could just do a barter exchange?
Mhm.
There was an economy in earlier times that was a barter economy.
Mhm.
Madad was a concept.
Mhm.
People, there was a time when there was no money which was being transacted, there was no currency.
Yeah. Yeah.
Madad was a currency. So why can't we think and revive those solutions? The connection that I'm trying to make, you said no, ancient and the new lingo.
Yeah.
Let's use whatever best we've got in terms of technology, in terms of our what where we have arrived, but make that connection. So home exchange is a brilliant platform
Mm.
where I can actually go and stay somewhere without paying any money,
Mm.
because someone else will come and stay in my house.
Yeah.
And someone who was capitalizing the inefficiency in the market because you and I didn't knew each other,
Yeah.
we actually managed to get out of it.
Mhm.
And now I don't need to make a lot of money to go somewhere and stay, because earlier I needed a hotel, but now I don't need a hotel,
Mm.
as long as we have created an economy or a system by which you and I can stay in each other's houses, right?
Right.
So I'm saying when you have examples such as this, then why can't we build more of this
Mm.
and solve for it? So let's deprioritize. Someone who's running Fairphone has the same opportunity as any other cell phone company to make money. But that person is prioritizing planet,
Mm.
sustainability, well being. Someone who's running home exchange could have made another Airbnb, but they haven't made Airbnb. They've made home exchange
Mm.
instead.
Okay.
And they're still making money in it. They're not, it's not something which is unsustainable financially,
Yeah.
but there is a cap. They said, I need this much.
Mhm.
And this is also what leading self means.
Okay.
When you have clarity on who you are and what you need
Mhm.
and where you are going, then that's it. You lead yourself properly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um. Again, you brought this back to leading self, and for young minds, for our youth, getting these questions answered. First of all, admitting or understanding that these are the real questions that they need to answer for themselves. How are they going to do this? You said there has to be someone with them. Uh, Arjuna needed Krishna to be with him. There has to be a coach, an advisor, somebody to help answer these questions. I want to now dive into the stakeholders, dive into people around entrepreneur who help the entrepreneur do entrepreneurship. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the idea of a mentor, a coach, um, a guide. So let's talk a little bit about the idea of a mentor, a coach, a guide, and there's some, a consultant. There are many words which are out there.
Yeah.
What are these words? How do we distinguish, and what role do they play for an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think it can be very confusing for a young entrepreneur, a student entrepreneur to wonder whom should I go to help for. And let me first of all try and clarify the terminology as I understand it, so that they are clear. Um, you have a consultant, you have advisor, you have a mentor, and you have a coach. Um, a mentor is someone, uh, by definition, who's a friend, philosopher, guide. Um, Mentor is someone who has been there, who has done that. So, who can, if you go to a mentor, you ask them the answer. You've been there, you've done that. If you were in my spot, what would you do? And you get an answer from a mentor. So, mentor is someone who's experienced, someone who's seen a lot, someone who has done the things that you're doing, I guess. That's what mentor is.
Okay.
Who's a coach? A coach is someone who helps you reflect. A coach is someone who will show you your blind spots. A coach is someone who's going to make you think in the ways that you've never thought earlier and create insights which will help you find your own answers. A coach usually does not give an answer. A coach will help you find your own answers. And they believe in your adequacy, your individual abundance to find your own answer.
Hmm.
Every human being is adequate and abundant. I believe that as a coach. I practice coaching. I'm a mentor, I'm a coach to various startups and people in the corporate world or otherwise. But that's what coaching is and where coaches operate from.
Okay.
A consultant is someone who is actually a little bit more hands-on for you.
Okay.
They're consulting you on a project. They are, looking at your data. They're writing your processes. So a consultant is more involved in your context, in your world. A coach and a mentor will perhaps not ask you for data or read documents or do things with you. Consultant can be more hands-on with you,
Okay.
operationally involved, strategically involved.
Hmm.
An advisor is someone you just go to, advisory board. And, once in a while you go to them for advice. They may not be so invested in you. They may know you fleetingly. They may know you from a distance, and you just get piece of advice from them. What would be your advice to me based on, what you have seen in this world? So they are somewhat like mentors, but mentors are a little bit closer to you. They know you intimately. Uh, Advisors may not know you intimately. And lastly, therapist.
Acha, okay.
Since mental health is such a big buzzword, and I think where does mental health come from in our world? It is coming from lack of clarity and the distractions and the speed of change and the technologically how we are surrounded and what it is doing to us, which is where I think the mental health issues come, or that is why it has become more important, where people are focusing. A therapist is someone who looks in your past
Hmm.
to help you resolve issues. So that's when people would go to a therapist. So these are all very different professions and different styles with which someone can go out and ask help for. Um, Most of the time, I think the best people to ask for help are people who know you well when you're young,
Hmm.
because they know your context the best rather than going to someone who doesn't know you. It would be a good idea to become familiar or make yourself familiar to people who you want to seek help from.
Mhm.
And that's how you should ask for help, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of terminology. I hope that makes it clear for students who are watching. And also, for individuals who are practicing mentoring. Uh, Mentor is a very common word
Yeah.
today. We have become a startup nation now, and there are a lot of mentors around. Let's let's talk about how do I practice mentoring? How do I mentor when students come to me? And as a mentor, probably I'm a faculty.
Mm.
I can also be a parent. I can also be a friend. Uh, somebody who is senior to a student. As a mentor, what is the kind of role that you play?
That's a very interesting question. I've reflected a lot on it, having been a mentor to so many entrepreneurs over the last 10 years. And I've seen many mentors come alongside me, some very successful, some have failed at what they were trying to do as we received feedback from those entrepreneurs. I think first and foremost, uh, mentors have to be humane. You're dealing with human beings,
Hmm.
and you're dealing with human beings with a lot of vulnerability, who are creating, innovating, challenging themselves, already putting their neck on the line, putting themselves out there on the edge, and you're dealing with them. So you have to be very humane. uh, you cannot be abrasive, disruptive, harsh. Be harsh when you have to be, because you're their friend, philosopher, guide. um, but you have to do it in a very gentle way, is what I feel. And maybe I'm biased. My mentoring philosophy is creeping into this answer that I'm giving, but I think that's how I believe good mentorship is.
Hmm.
You feel like meeting a mentor, you feel like hanging out with a mentor. And why would you want to hang out with a mentor? Because you feel nice in their company,
Hmm.
right? They do something to you.
Hmm.
They um, bolster your self-esteem.
Hmm.
They make you believe in your own ideas. They provide clarity to you. They ask questions which no one else is asking,
Hmm.
not to stop you in your tracks, but to change your direction a little bit and provide the energy that you need to go faster in your tracks.
Hmm.
So, in my opinion, it's has to be very well thought out, careful, considerate, humane approach when you deal with mentees. Um, and also, you have to make sure that you do not harm them
Hmm.
with your feedback. You have to be constructive at all points in time, and you have to make sure that you bolster their strength and remove their weaknesses slowly. Uh, is how you should mentor, in my opinion. It's just be involved, think, put them at the center,
Hmm.
and let your ego disappear. A lot of mentors have a lot of ego. I've been there, I've done that. What do you know? I've seen it. You have to drop it. You have to be more grounded. You have to be more open. And
You have
I
to
think,
listen more.
yeah, you have to listen more, and you have to drop your ego, because your ego can creep in very easily, because your mentee might say, look, I don't think this is a good advice, or I don't want to do it. And suddenly your ego will, come in between. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So, right, that's a lot of conversation, sort of. um, I hope our dear student entrepreneurs are able to absorb all of this and make sense of all of this. Sometimes I feel like we are trying to speed them up, help them bypass, the Maslow's need hierarchy.
That is my problem, I think. Yes. I need to be more conscious about it, but I think, yeah, I have to be true to where I am, and see wherever it lands. Yeah. I do feel, yes. See, I'm trying to share what I have learned over decades, but if someone can learn from their experience
Hmm.
or reflect from that experience, then it's a good idea. And whatever they get, however much they get from it, is fine,
Yeah.
because any movement is good rather than no movement.
Okay. Great. All right. So, okay, I'm looking for questions, but I think we've answered a lot of questions today, and uh, primarily we focused on entrepreneur, and we said who is an entrepreneur, what does an entrepreneur do, how does an entrepreneur conduct himself or herself, and the answers have been around. bringing inner clarity, around leading oneself, which is what attracts others to you, and then you start leading others. And when you have more people with you, you can build organizations which are aligned to values. The missions and visions of these organizations are aligned. And if you use all of this alignment to solve what is worth solving, alternative solutions, connecting the ancient to the latest, bringing the um, traditional knowledge, bringing what matters to human beings, bringing
If I could just replace the word ancient with ancient wisdom traditions. So there was a lot of, since you used traditional knowledge and you used ancient,
uh-huh.
we can just say ancient wisdom traditions. There was a lot
Okay.
of wisdom embedded
Hmm.
in our civilization and and we lost it
Hmm.
or we're losing it, which is why we have come at a crossroads with a lot of the decisions that we're making.
Mm-hmm.
Our political leaders, our corporate leaders, our community leaders
Mm-hmm.
have been making bad decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that our student entrepreneurs will make better decisions with better decision making.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, they learn from ancient wisdom traditions.
Yeah.
And with all of that is available to them, if we increase their awareness and make that connection,
Yeah.
we hope to have a world that is going to revive from where we are.
Hmm.
Maybe we'll have a better world going forward.
Yeah, and we have our youth dividend. We have our youth entrepreneurs who are going to focus on all the solve all the problems that we have created for them.
Yeah.
And it's about time. And also we hope that the students, although technology keeps them busy, there is this sham that we see. Technology creates a new world for everyone on their phones, on their social medias, and so on. We're hoping that they'll be able to connect to the human element that we are referring to. That in all of this distraction, let's not forget that at the end of the day, human relationships are going to matter. Solving problems for humans are going to matter. And technology may actually come crashing down someday, and then all that will be left with is
Human to human.
human to human. And if you do not know how to talk, behave, handle, lead people, then what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And with all of this, building ventures which will solve real problems which we are facing today, which will shape the world of tomorrow, with the help of mentors who themselves, have to reflect and, be the mentors that they should be, and creating ecosystems, creating environments where entrepreneurs can think freely, can access their wisdom, can get the guidance that they need, probably will be able to harness the potential that our youth has by following the path of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely. Thank you for that summary. I just wanted to say in the end that since we spoke a lot about human and technology and I do feel that the competition, and I'll talk a little bit about competition as well. The competition is not between human and AI, it is between human plus AI versus AI
Okay.
in some sense. So,
Mm.
our ability to use artificial intelligence algorithms to our advantage will make us lead algorithms or stay ahead of algorithms. And the edge will come from human to human connection. So far, in last 150 years, whatever, since we brought this new management, business, leadership philosophy in our domain, we celebrated competition. We thrived on competition. We said you have to be ahead of the other human being. You have to step on someone else's shoulder to
Mm.
get ahead, right? We competed. We taught competition in our schools.
Yeah.
We have to get rid of that world.
Mm-hmm.
The new world has to be of collaboration,
Mm-hmm.
human to human collaboration. So the new business models that we build have to be on collaboration. What I told you about home exchange is a collaborative model.
Yeah.
We're not competing. There's no one-upmanship. I'm not saying I'm staying in a five-star hotel and you're not staying in a five-star hotel. I'm saying I'm staying in your home
Mm.
and you're welcome to my home.
Yeah.
It's collaboration. And someone who enabled this model is also not competing to create more wealth. They're satisfied in the wealth that they need,
Hmm.
having identified their needs. Financially sustainable model. So we have to create this world and make sure that the student entrepreneurs understand the need of the hour and this world so that they can build for it, in my opinion.
Okay, so let's conclude this conversation. Although I've given a summary already, but I think this is quite a deep conversation that we had, and these ideas that we have discussed are not very commonly written about, discussed, or brought to fore, especially to the student entrepreneurs. But I think it's important to discuss these issues. Everything flows from you when you are a student, when you're competing, when you're fighting, you're trying to build yourself. It feels like the world is coming at you, but the world really flows from you.
Yeah.
You build the reality, you build solutions to the problems, and that is the role that an entrepreneur has. That is what entrepreneurship can do to the world. That is how the future will be shaped. And at the end of the day, it's people, it's human beings working together to solve problems that they're facing together. And no matter what technology comes, the underlying uh, value is going to be, can we help humans flourish?
Yeah. Thank you, Puran. Thank you for summarizing.
Thank you so much for having this conversation, and thank you for coming to this podcast, Guess in Your Podcast. It was lovely to have you here, and enriching dialogue that we had.
Thank you, Puran. And I look forward to the final podcast and what you will get in terms of reels out of it as well.
Great. Okay, can you say something on the camera for Guess India? What do you think about the initiative?
Um, I think Guess India is a great initiative. From little that I know, first of all, it brings data out that tells us what's going on in the mind of students who are thinking about careers, entrepreneurship, the new world that they're going to go out in, and the changes that they're experiencing because of everything that's happening in this world at the moment. So I think just the fact that there is a survey which is tracking and telling us more about the young population, student population, that's very refreshing. That's great. It's going all across the country. And from what I've learned from Puran, who is the India coordinator for Guess India, is the program involving campus ambassadors and now faculty members and also student entrepreneurs on campuses. I think there is a great opportunity for us to not just create awareness by sharing more data, but also to handhold each other and build capacity. If we have to become a nation which solves the problems the way we articulated in our conversation, then we have to build a lot of understanding, lot of capacity at an individual level, at a collective level, and at an ecosystem level. So I'm very hopeful and look forward excitingly to opportunities where we would be able to build more capacity for this entrepreneurial ecosystem and the right kind of capacity so that we can deliver to the requirement focusing on human potential, not just productive potential. Thank you, Puran.